What's up guys, this is Don's Movies, and welcome to the World of Warcraft lore Q&A number 64. The question for today's video is by The Coolest, and he asks, do you think you could do a video on what you think the next expansion will be? So, as with the previous video, yes, I can do a video, and you're watching that video right now. And this question is really starting to get old. I mean, it has been getting old for quite some long time now, and that is why I don't really tend to do these types of videos anymore, because there is a bunch of these threads, and people hate to see these types of speculations, but I honestly thought this would be a really good time to do it, as at this point, the BlizzCon is coming in a few months, and I'm 99.9% sure that we will get a new expansion, so I thought this would be a really good time to lay down some speculations, but please keep in mind that Blizzard has been very unpredictable lately, and Worlds of Draenor came out of nowhere, so around the time of maybe, let's say, Burning Crusade or Rat of the Lich King, it was very easy to speculate because there was some history behind and we knew like artists would come at some point. But it could really be anything, like the next expansion could be anything, and after this BlizzCon you might just realize how stupid this video is and none of this stuff makes any sense. But there could also be a possibility that I guess something, so this is why I'm making this video. So the first theory that I have, and the one that I'm currently sticking to, is the Eye of Ashara, mainly because that has been copyrighted just a bit before the last BlizzCon, and still nothing has really been done about it, and it could still be a really big possibility for a new expansion. Now, before you say, I know everyone likes to say that, before they say it's like a book or a comic, it is actually registered under like a computer application, mobile application, so it could either be something for World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, or maybe like Heroes of the Storm or something like that, like an expansion. But the scenario that I see for a World of Warcraft expansion with the Eye of Ashara is that we will fight the Naga, and there will be like another underwater zone, just like we had Washir, and maybe this time we will actually see the old god Enzot, who is actually suggested to be underwater, somewhere around Vashir. I believe his actual location is not really known, and supposedly he might have actually gotten free from his prison when he was imprisoned by the Titans, and when the Sundering happened, when the entire world was shattered, it is suggested that his prison was actually broken, so there could be like a ruined Titan city like Uldar underwater, and we could actually fight an old god there. And again, before you say we already did that with Yogg-Saron and Uldar, it's not really the exact same scenario. Like, if you don't know the lore of Uldar, you can watch my previous video, I believe I did it recently, and I made a video on the entire storyline and what happened, and pretty much how Yogg-Saron actually manipulated all the Titanic Watchers. But this scenario could actually be a bit different. Maybe there are no Titanic Watchers, and it could just be like a Titanic setting, but the minions would be like the old god minions, and the main evil would be Enzot as the final boss, and it would be like the biggest old god expansion by now. And also, since it's the Eye of Ashara, I mean, Ashara should have a really big role in that, and it is suggested that she is still alive, and her location is currently unknown, but I'm pretty sure she's still alive. And she is like the most influential and the biggest character in the lore, and probably the strongest arcane magic user, like a mage, currently on the world of Azeroth. Now, when you mention Ashara, it automatically just connects to the Naga, so I'm almost 100% sure that if we ever get Ashara, we will get the Naga, but there could be two different scenarios that I see being possible. Either all of them are evil and are still serving the old gods, because if you don't know, the Naga are actually the servants of the old gods, as when the entire thing happened 10,000 years ago, the Highborn sunk to the bottom of the sea, and Ashara actually made a pact with the old gods which cursed them and allowed them to survive, so they're pretty much the minions of the old gods. Other scenario I can see, apart from them just being straight out evil, is that a part of them broke from the old gods, just like we have Sylvanas breaking from the Lich King, and they could like join the Alliance or the Horde, or maybe be like a race like the Pandaren. They can like choose if they want to join the Alliance or the Horde. Or maybe Ashara is now leading them, and she's the Sylvanas of the Naga, and the Naga are like the Forsaken, so that would be kinda an interesting scenario. Yes, I mean, I can see that some of the storyline elements are repeating, but it would be really interesting for it to happen. So those are a few different scenarios I can see happening with the Eye of Ashara, which I think is the most likely next WoW expansion. I mean, unless they use the copyright for something else like Hearthstone or Heroes of the Storm, which is also highly possible. Now, the next type of an expansion I see is pretty much the king of all speculations and something people have just been talking about since, I believe, like the Burning Crusade, and that is the South Seas expansion. Now, I would really like to see this type of an expansion, because with the new 6.2 patch notes that we got recently, I think it would be a really possible thing, as they announced these naval missions in the shipyard. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this would be a really good way from them to test out the entire feature and see if it works. But apart from that little hint, there's also a lot of material for this to happen, because the setting would be somewhere around the tomb of Sargeras and Kultiras, which used to be this prominent human kingdom, which has been really super silent since Warcraft 3 pretty much, and they were very famous for their trades and their huge naval force, but after they got destroyed they didn't really have much else to go from, so right now either they're really poor or something happened in Kultiras and it has been completely destroyed. Imagine something like with the Taylor's Garrison to happen to Kultiras, so it's like a ghost town and we could go there and set up an alliance and a horde base, sort of something like Ashran, and the main target would be the Tomb of Sargeras. And then again, I mean, the main boss could be either the Burning Legion or the Old Gods, so that would be a really interesting thing. Now, another possible scenario that I can see with the entire South Seas expansion could be a mix between my first and the second speculation, so pretty much the Eye of Ashara expansion could have like naval combat and include islands like Kultiras and the other ones around the Maelstrom, like the Zandalar and the Broken Isles that the Trolls were on if it hasn't been destroyed by this point. And again, here the Old Gods could have a big influence, and my speculation would be that Anzot or even some other Old God that we don't know about could be like the main boss, so it could like mix the elements between the Eye of Ashara and the South Seas expansion, if that is the actual Eye of Ashara expansion. Now, before the 6.2 announcement, I honestly thought, I thought it was interesting, but I thought it would be a really small chance for it to happen. But now I think it would be highly possible because of the new naval thing in the shipyard that they're introducing. And it could actually be in order to test out and see how the players like it. Because I know they did like a test in the Cataclysm with Washir and to see how people will actually like the zone. Most likely for like a next expansion like the Eye of Ashara to see if they want to introduce underwater zones. But unfortunately, people didn't really like it as much, even though I personally fully enjoyed it because I thought it was a really unique thing to add to the game, and it was like the first time where you had like a full underwater zone, and that could be one of the reasons because the people didn't like it. It could be the reason why they will add maybe the Kultiras or something like that, and we will have like only one underwater zone instead of like the entire underwater continent. And the last speculation that I'm going to propose could be the Sylvanas expansion. Now, I'm not really going to talk too much about this because I already made a video about this. It's pretty much the video I did before this video, and it's going to be in the outro of this video, also in the description. And to make the long story short, I think there could be like a scenario where Sylvanas could turn evil and try to become sort of something like the new Lich Queen, and many of the previous elements could be used in this expansion that we had from the previous expansions, such as the Argent Crusade, which has been cleansing the Plague Lands for quite some time now. Also Gilneas, which Blizzard actually said that they want to rebuild and reintroduce at some point because they really like the zone. So I think this would be a really great opportunity for Blizzard to update both the Plague Lands and Gilneas. And if you want to see a few ways Sylvanas could actually turn evil, you should check out my previous video called Will Sylvanas Turn Evil, which is going to be in the description below, which I give you a few ways that Sylvanas could turn evil and some of the things that happened in the past. So these are the three big speculations, and these are just my suggestions and just my views on it. And as I said in the start of the video, this could be a possibility, but since we had Warlords of Draenor, which pretty much came out of nowhere, I don't think anyone even saw it coming, it could be possible that neither of these happen and that they introduce something completely different that no one else saw coming, so just keep that in mind if you go back to this video like 6 months later. Alright, that is all I have for this video. I hope that I answered your question, and do leave your questions for the next Q&A, like this edited one and the big Q&A that I'm going to do soon. Also, do leave your suggestions for the future videos, and like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, as it really helps the channel and keeps all these videos going. Thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and see you next time.